many young singers can boast of the fact that their debut single went to #1 on video and radio charts across the nation? Keshia Chanté can, and she's here with me on One on One. Welcome to One on One, Keshia.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Keshia, you burst onto the music scene in 2003 with a splash, and you haven't looked back. And you already have a Juno under your belt. What was that like, winning the Juno?
Winning the Juno, we were at the Juno dinner gala, and I had gone to the Junos 2 years prior with a friend just to see what it was like. And you know, that night was kind of cool because I got to open up the dinner ceremony with the performance. And I was eating dinner when my category was being called, and I was trying not to listen. I didn't want to know who won. I didn't want to know anything, but it was really, really cool when they said my name. I was really, really excited, and I didn't have a speech written or anything like that, so I kind of just jumped on stage and had to freestyle really quick. But it was a very good feeling. It was pretty exciting for me.
Let's go back a little bit in time. When did you develop your interest in singing and music and songwriting?
I developed my interest when I was about 6 years old. It was the first time I had ever gone on stage. And I was living in Ottawa at the time, and I remember I was in the back seat of my mom's car, and her best friend Lorna was in the passenger seat, and I was in the back seat, and my mom had put this record by Tupac Shakur called Dear Mama. I had only heard it about 3 times, and my mom played it, and her friend was like, she knows all the words. She's like, turn the music down, turn the music down. And I was in the back rapping to the song, and I was only like 5 years old at the time. And my mom's friend said, you know, this Black History Month, and I would really like for her to perform. My mom said, I don't know, it's her first time on stage, she's really young. So I told my mom I really wanted to do it. So she gave me the chance, I performed, and after that performance, I got a standing ovation. And that's when I was like, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I kind of put that in theory, and I did it.
Okay, now you've decided that this is what you wanted for the rest of your life. How did your parents react, or how did you approach them with this?
They knew I wanted to sing since I was little. I have tapes of me when I got my first microphone. I was like 2 years old, and my family knew that I wanted to be a singer. My mom was a singer when she was younger, and her father, my grandfather, Vovô Santos, he lives in Portugal, and he's a famous writer for a lot of Portuguese artists. So it was kind of in the family, and it was kind of it was going to happen sooner or later. But the way my mom reacted to it, and my father as well, is they sold the house in Ottawa, and we just moved to Toronto and to see what would happen. So I was getting signed to Sony, so we moved.
Well, I know that you have shifted from Ottawa to Brampton. Now, with your age, and you are young, and friends and the whole social circle is very important, how was the shift for you?
I knew it was going to happen. I was already traveling back and forth. I was coming to Toronto on the weekends and then attending school on the weekdays, and I was in Toronto to record songs, and then I had to leave Sunday night to be back home for school the next day, so it was quite interesting in the beginning. So, you know, it kind of has to happen, and I saw it happening, but I still talk to my friends every single day on the phone. They visit me, I visit them. One of my best friends was in one of my videos, Does He Love Me? She's on the little scooter bike with me, so I still keep my old friends, and I think it's important. So.
While you were trying to pursue your goals, how did you balance sort of going to school with homework and also all the time you had to put in to achieve what you've got so far?
It was a natural balance. It was kind of interesting because I would get up early, have to be at school, and then I'd have to hurry up for interviews, and then rehearsals for a show, and then the show, and then when I got home late at night, I'd have homework to do, and then the next day. And it's kind of interesting, you know, being in a classroom and people were like, oh, I saw that interview last night or that show last night, and it's just kind of weird, but you got to balance it and kind of live in your own world and get things done, pretty much.
How important do you think the support of your family has been to your success so far?
Very, very important. My mother is my manager, and she's my co-manager, and my dad's like the other half of that. So I have, you know, parents who are there and they support me, and it's very important because, you know, there's some stresses and there's these things, and you need someone to be outside looking in at all times who will give you an honest opinion. So it's good, like creative, process-wise, and all those type of things. So.
What do you think keeps you sort of balanced and grounded?
What keeps me balanced and grounded? Well, personally, I don't feel any reason to, you know, be cocky or anything like that, or conceited or anything like that. But what keeps me humble is, again, my parents being really close to me and me being an only child. So, you know, being raised with a lot of adults in my life who are very honest, and my best friends, my girls, and going back to Ottawa and visiting. Those things kind of keep you humbled, I think.
Now, besides, going to school and going for the interviews and auditions and things that you did, how did you develop your music talents?
Developing my music talents. I'm quite a perfectionist when it comes to things that I put my all into. And, being a singer was very important for me to be in my room in the mirror rehearsing and practicing every single song. And that's just the way it was. I'd rather, at the time, like when I was in Ottawa and my girls wanted to go to the movies, I'd rather be home rehearsing and, those type of things. So I think that's what kind of helped me develop my craft, was just rehearsing a lot and practicing and studying people that I looked up to, and it's part of it.
Stay with us. Coming up next, we'll find out who are some of the role models for Keshia Chanté in the music industry. You're watching One on One with Keshia Chanté. Keshia, growing up, who were some of your role models in the music industry?
My one and only role model, actually, was Tupac Shakur. He still is. A lot of artists that influenced me were like old school artists my mom used to play, in Vogue, and Stevie Wonder, and Teddy Pendergrass, the OJs, Stylistics, old school people. But who really, really influenced me was Tupac Shakur. We share the same birthday. I listen to him constantly. Like, he's definitely my role model. So,
now, with him as a role model, what do you take from him?
What do I take from him? I really understand him. A lot of people thought, he contradicted himself with his music and then what he did. And everybody had an opinion, and some people didn't really understand him. But I really do understand him, and I understood his whole views of things and why he did things, and like, we're a lot alike. So immediately, that's kind of what made me attached to him, like be so attracted to him musically, like to come to him. But he is unbelievable when it comes to writing and the passion that he puts in his music, and it's just a lot to look up to. He's a legend, so of course you want to look up to someone who is the best at what he did. So,
you're a singer and a songwriter. Where do you get your inspiration from?
My inspiration, crazy question. I just make what I feel at the time, whatever it may be. I take inspiration from everything that goes around. It could be a movie, it could be me walking in a park, me talking to my girl on the phone, and she telling me about one of her problems, and I write a song about it. But those type of things will inspire you. So I think I take everything, really.
You were a hit right from day one when you came onto the music scene. Are you surprised by your success?
I don't really pay attention to it. I don't want to know. I don't even want to know about those things. I know, like, when you go to the label, they're like, oh, this song is at this chart, and you sold this, and and they're excited, and that's really exciting to have people in the label enthused about you. But I don't really want to know. It might distort my vision of what I'm doing. I like to stay focused in my craft before paying attention to things. I think when you start focusing on sales and success, you start to forget why you started in the beginning, and that's just making music. So,
because you came onto the scene at such a young age, did you find that people took you seriously or not?
That's a good question. People at my label, they treated me like a daughter or a younger sister. So I had a lot of adults who took care of me in that sense. So I was lucky to have a really good team. I think you are kind of underestimated. I think you have every right to be. You should be underestimated because, there's people out there who are older and who are wiser, who've been in the business longer, and, your expectation of them is over here. So when someone who's younger and is coming up fresh, you kind of expect the expectation to be a little bit lower. But I really like when people underestimate me because it makes me work hard and it makes me want to prove a point. So,
how do you handle all the media attention and take it in stride?
The media attention. Again, I don't really pay attention to it. It's not really too important to me, but it's cool because I really like interviews and I really love radio and I love all those type of things and getting to meet interviewers like yourself and being asked cool questions. I don't know, I enjoy everything.
You were touring this past summer. How was your touring schedule?
My touring schedule. I went across Canada for a month. I had 3 girls who were my opening acts, and they're brand new to the scene. I think one of them had her second album out. But we were all different genres of music. We had kind of like one girl who was kind of rock, one who was country, one was kind of punk, and then you had this R&B singer. So it was a really cool tour. But my schedule for the tour was, you know, I got up in the morning and I went to the mall. I had to do a sound check early in the morning. Then I had the mall performance, which was at noon. Then I had autograph signing for about 2 hours. And then I had to go straight to the venue for a sound check and then eat dinner and then have performance. And then the next day all over again. And when I was sleeping, we'd be traveling to a new city. So it was pretty hectic, but I loved it because I have 5 dancers, 2 guys and 3 girls, and they're around my age, so we have a great time. We're in the back playing Xbox and those type of things. So I have fun doing it.
Do you ever get tired with your busy schedule?
I never get tired. I'm amused by everything. I always have a good time. I always find ways of having a good time. There's no downfalls really to this, except I think waking up really, really early. But even then, I wake up pretty much in a good mood. So,
coming up next, we'll find out what it was like for Keshia Chanté when she signed with Sony BMG. Welcome back to One on One with the lovely Keshia Chanté. Keshia, you signed with Sony BMG. That has got to be every artist's dream. Mm-hmm. What was it like for you?
It was interesting. I was in my room. I was in Ottawa. I was in my room on the computer playing a game one day when Mr. Ivan Barry, who's now my co-manager as well as my mother, he had called me and he was an A&R at BMG, and he gave me a call because a DJ from Ottawa told him about this girl who can sing and she's 13 and da-da-da-da-da. So he's like, okay, I'm going to call her. So he called me and he's like, hey, I'm Mr. Barry and I'm from Sony BMG, at the time just BMG. But I'm from BMG and I want to hear you sing. Sing something for me. With no hesitation, I just went into a medley. I started singing Stevie Wonder and Alicia Keys' Woman's Worth. And immediately he was like, oh, you didn't hesitate. Because usually when you randomly call somebody or you meet someone and you say, sing for me. They're like, oh, what do you want me to sing? Or can I have 2 minutes to prepare myself? That's the worst thing when you do, when you hesitate. So I performed for him right away on the phone. He had me come down to Toronto and he had me record Unpredictable, which is my second single. And you know, that whole process, I was just starting, and then if that song did well and I was a success, they would sign me, and that's how it would work. So it was pretty exciting when I got to sign the little contract. I was pretty excited about it to get to put out an album and everything, so it was exciting.
What are some of the advantages, do you think, as an artist, to have a label like Sony behind you?
Advantages, well, a label brings your product to the consumers, and if it wasn't for my label, I probably wouldn't have the fans that I have. They wouldn't get to hear my music without, distribution, really, at the end of the day. So it means a lot because that's where my fan base comes from, and they get to, bring my product to these kids, and then I get to develop my fans from there and perform for them and whatnot. So it's important to have a label supporting your project.
Keshia, you're obviously a talented singer.
Thank you.
You're absolutely stunning. You're a beautiful young woman.
Thank you.
How important do you think the success of a video shot well is to a singer for their songs?
From a business point of view, a video, like I said to you before, a business video, like a music video, is the visual interpretation of the song. You have 3 minutes to sell that song and show people what the song's about. From an artist's point of view, from my point of view, it's important to make a video because I think a lot of fans who hear the song will have an idea what it might be like. And I don't know, I think it's kind of exciting to get to see what the artist has to say about the song, because there's songs where you hear and you think they're talking about one thing, and then you see the video and it's totally opposite of what you thought. So I think it's cool. It's like, it's almost like a little mini movie for the song. So I think it's very important for people to see.
What type of pressure do you think there is, especially for women in the whole media industry, to always look good?
The pressure. You get scrutinized, you know, those are in magazines. You get scrutinized if you don't look good all the time. As for me, again, this is something that I just don't focus my time on or my energy on. It has nothing to do with my music, how I look, and if, you know, those shoes match my jacket, and it has nothing to do with anything. At the end of the day, we're making music, and music is the most powerful substance of all. So I think that's the most important thing. As for having to look good, I just dress up and whatever, get my makeup done if I need to, and it's whatever I feel like doing. I don't feel like sitting there and having to get my makeup done every day, my hair done because I have to look good. It's not important to me, anyways.
Now that you have this Juno, what type of pressure is there on you as an artist? Like, do you feel that you know, everything has to be to a certain standard? Do you feel it's more stressful now or less than before when you were starting out and nobody knew who you were?
Right. I'm a perfectionist. You know, I guess that's the best way I can explain it. Getting a Juno, it is kind of a little bit of stress in a way, because you just got honored with the Juno. You got like awarded for that entire year for an R&B. I won the R&B album of the year. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. That makes me say, okay, I got to do better next year. My next album has to be bigger and better. And of course, you know, when you're a perfectionist, it has to be that way. And you know, a Juno is like a Canadian Grammy. So now my next thing is, now I gotta get me a Grammy. Now I gotta put my music out worldwide, and that's what we're doing now, and that's kind of the levels and where I have to be.
Going worldwide, do you think you'll always sort of stay based here in Canada?
It would depend. It depends. I've been going back and forth a lot to New York to record, and I hate traveling back and forth, especially when I'm over there and I don't have my home, my bed to sleep in, and I'm in a hotel or whatever. So, you know, if it came time, I definitely would maybe stay in New York for a little bit, but I would always come back to Canada. It's my home. This is where I'm from. And I think living here is what keeps an artist humble if you stay where you were brought up. I think it's very important. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll have to see.
Stay with us. Coming up next, we'll find out how Keshia Chanté spends a day at home. You're watching One on One with Keshia Chanté. Keshia, tell me, how do you sort of chill out at home?
Eat ice cream, watch movies, and invite my friends over. That's my day.
Moving here from Ottawa, you moved to Brampton. Was it difficult sort of finding a new circle of friends, or?
I had to attend school, and not that I had to. My mom offered me to get a tutor. She offered me to do co-op, but I wanted to go to a normal school and live a normal life because that's what I've been doing my whole life. I don't want to just change all of a sudden because, you know, it's something that you're comfortable with. So I attended school. Very, very interesting process. You meet people who, I remember when I first went to school in Brampton, I was kind of like in shock. I went to have lunch and like people were just staring at me. and people were like, oh my gosh, and some people were excited, and some people were just kind of, I don't know, I can't really explain it, but it was the most awkward thing that ever happened to me in my life. But finding a new circle of friends, it was pretty easy. You meet people in class, and you know, they're cool with you and whatnot. Just being a normal teenager, it happens. When I go out with my friends, in Toronto, I don't have very many friends. And the reason that is because it's hard to make a friend when they're a real big fan of your music. It's kind of weird in a way. My only friends and my truest friends, and they will always be my truest friends because they were there from the beginning, are my friends from Ottawa. So talking on the phone with them is the closest I can get to them. When I am in Ottawa, which I've been a couple times, you know, we will go to the mall, we will go to the movie theaters, and it's the weirdest thing when people see you and they recognize you and they're like, what are you doing in Ottawa? It's kind of cool. I went to my school last summer to go visit my old friends, so, you know, those things kind of happen. That's what I do. I hang out with my friends and do the normal things and maybe hop on a bus and go to the mall or whatnot.
How are you enjoying living in Brampton now?
I enjoy it. It's just like Ottawa to me. It's really, really peaceful and it's really, really calm, so I enjoy it.
What advice can you give to sort of new and young artists that want to achieve what you've achieved?
Well, some advice for people who want to get in the music industry. My personal opinion on that, I feel if you really want to be an entertainer, you don't need to ask anybody for advice. You were going to figure it out yourself, and you were going to find it yourself. And I believe that because I think when you're really driven, I really wanted to do this. I'm not going to sit there and, you know, say, okay, well, what can I do? I'm going to go out there and get it because that's how driven I am. I will go read books on the industry. I will go read books on like royalty rates and things like that that people wouldn't really recognize. But, you know, advice for people who are young is just if you really want to do it, you don't really need advice. You will figure it out. You know what I mean? Like you will go to a label and who can I call? Who are the A&Rs here? How can I bring my music to you? And you figure it out. That's what being driven and passionate is about. But people who are starting out and who want to do it is just don't let anybody tell you no. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it because that is not true. And just persevere and just stay focused. I think is the best advice I could possibly give.
What do you want to do in the future?
Be an entrepreneur. This next album, you know, writing more. And again, you know, process of producing. And right now I mix and, you know, I comp my records and whatnot. And I'm very a part of my music. And I'm such a perfectionist that it has to be to my standard or else I'm not happy with it. So that as an artist, like to kind of build and be better at your craft. I'm a producer. I want to be an entrepreneur. I would love to have my own hotel, you know, a bunch of hotels in Europe and restaurants and different things like that. I love business. Maybe my own record label one day and get to bring new talented young artists who are hungry in the music industry and who are really, really talented and can bring something beautiful to music. So we'll see what I'm up to.
Well, Keshia, we wish you much luck in the future, and we're going to watch out for you, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
That wraps up another episode of One on One.